Hello friends, welcome to LeggLife. We have a very special guest for this one.
Hi.
Because in this video we are giving our full review of our recent cruise on the Caribbean Princess. It was our 14th cruise, Mom's
First cruise.
very first cruise ever.
This was a 7-night cruise from Vancouver to Whittier on the Caribbean Princess, like Adam said. This was our 14th cruise and Nita's first.
And it was our first time on the Caribbean Princess.
Yeah.
First time on that ship. So we're going to give you our thoughts. We're going to give you Mom's thoughts. I'm actually more interested in her thoughts because it was her first cruise. But overall, just both of you, overall, good cruise?
Yeah.
Good cruise. Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, Mom. So you have my whole life. I have heard you talk about wanting to go on a cruise. When you build something up for that long, sometimes it can be like an unrealistic expectation. So you've looked forward to this for a long time. Did it meet expectations better? What were your thoughts?
It absolutely did. It was, again, you've both heard this, but I was so excited to have food available 24/7 that I didn't have to prepare or clean up after. And boy, that exceeded my expectations. Good food. Yeah, every day, 24/7.
In fact, we were joking because on Princess, with the with the medallion app, you can check the location of different members in your cruise party. And so Sherri and I would be like, I wonder where Mom is, and we'd like check where she's at, and like most of the time, the buffet
Or International Cafe.
Yeah. Okay, so let's sort of walk through the cruise. Getting on the ship in Vancouver, Mom. That whole process. How was that? Was that confusing? How was that for you?
You know, again, I've said this to you. It wasn't confusing because I simply follow you.
Yeah.
Had I paid attention, which in hindsight I kind of wish I had, because I intend to go on another cruise. However, I learned in the 7 days that the staff, no matter what department, no matter what their job, you can ask them any question and they'll answer or take you to, and if they don't know, they'll find somebody who does know. And so I feel like my next cruise is going to be very similar to my first cruise in that I don't have a clue what to do, but at least I know that I can ask and that they'll be so helpful and they'll point me in the right direction.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that I think was, I think for me, one of the things I enjoyed the most about this cruise was getting to watch you and Rena experience it for the first time. Because, again, we've been on lots of cruises, and so in some ways, the more you do something, you kind of just learn how to do it. And so I think there's a lot of cruising that we just now instinctively know how to do.
And we don't think about it anymore. We just sort of do it.
Yeah, and so when you were, like, asking questions, even little things like your cell phone, it's like
When you get off the ship and go into the port, well, first of all, when you get on the ship, you have to turn on the airplane mode, or is it off?
Exactly.
So every time I got on and off the ship, something had to happen to my phone. And there was one staff member she was so awesome. And I was getting off the ship and I just wanted to make sure I did it right because I didn't want these two pay for my phone. I didn't want the charges to go up and up, and so I wanted to do it right. And she showed me, and then when I got back on the ship, she was at the same desk, and she showed me again, and I said, I think I've got it now. And she kind of chuckled and said, okay, well, I'll see you in the morning.
She's done this before. Yeah, she's done this before.
And so I just know that whatever the issue is, that the people there are just so awesome and so helpful and so professional that it doesn't matter what the question is. They're going to help you find out or figure out what you want or need. And so I kind of wish I had paid more attention to how and when and why, and that you were doing what you were doing. But after this experience, I know that I really don't have to. I'll just ask.
Yeah, because I remember, you had this cruise booked before we did. We didn't know we were going to be able to go, but
Right.
you were going.
Yes, I was going.
And so, you had some questions before me, before Sherri and I even booked this cruise. Things like, what do I do when I get to the port? And I think that that's important to know that, yes, it's good to pre-plan. Yes, it's good to have an idea. But the people are so helpful that if you just show up and you say, hey, I'm on the Caribbean Princess, where do I go?
Help.
They're going to point you
Yes.
to the right direction. And there's people all along the entire way to
This way for the
continue
Caribbean
pointing
Princess.
you.
This way, yep.
Yeah, and so you really are guided to the ship. And then once you're on the ship, there's crew everywhere.
Yes.
And
yes.
every crew, it doesn't matter what their role is, they are willing to help you. And so I do think that if cruising is an overwhelming thing, maybe you don't feel comfortable.
Don't be overwhelmed. They'll
Yeah.
help you. As a
Yeah.
matter of fact, what's your book that you recommended to everyone? The dog, the horse, the...
Oh yeah, the boy, the horse, the dog, and the mole. I totally got that wrong. It's all of those animals, maybe not in that order.
But one of the pages said the bravest thing you can do is ask for help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think
So I'm brave.
I think that is true. Okay, Sherri, so for you and I, there were a couple things that we didn't do this cruise, I think for the first time ever.
Yep.
We did not get any of the packages. So the Princess Plus, Premier,
Right.
the drink package. We didn't get the Wi-Fi
Right.
until the last couple days. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yep.
And so how was that? Because we were a little skeptical about cruising without a package.
Without the drink package, it was fine. Without the Wi-Fi, a little less fine, and we'll talk about that also, and why we ended up getting it the last couple of days. But honestly, the drink package I didn't really miss.
No.
You can still order drinks, you just pay for them as you go then.
Yeah.
And I felt like, for me, and I was actually talking about this with my manager, I kind of felt like it almost removed the pressure to drink.
I think you're right.
You paid for this, might as well.
I know. That's
Yeah.
the thing is, when we have the package, I almost feel like, oh man, we have to drink X amount of drinks to even make this worth it, because you pay a lot of money for these packages, and it's just kind of like, oh man, I feel like I need to drink every chance we get. And we certainly don't drink like that in real life.
No.
And so, we have a drink here and there, but we don't drink a lot. And so, on a cruise, the drinking definitely goes up because we pay for the package and we feel like we
You've
have
got
to
to get your money's worth.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I felt like on this one, it was like, yeah, I'll have a drink, or no, I don't really feel like it. So,
Yeah, there was, I think, one day we had 2 or 3 drinks. There were a couple days where we had no drinks.
Yeah.
I don't think, did we ever have one specialty coffee?
Nope.
Not one, which is crazy.
Nope.
But I agree with you. I actually did not miss having the package, and I'm kind of surprised to say
Yeah.
that. Now, the Wi-Fi, here's the thing. It would have been perfect to not have the Wi-Fi if we didn't have a brand new kitten at home.
Right.
Who was having some health things go on, and so we just wanted those daily updates from the girls that were checking in and here with him. And so what we would do, and Mom kind of alluded to this earlier, is that in ports in Alaska, so in Ketchikan, in Skagway, in Juneau, when we would get into those towns, we had cell signal.
Immediately,
Right.
we're checking on Cap.
Yeah, and so we would go off the ship's Wi-Fi, it would connect to 5G, and we would be able to text or call whoever we wanted to. But then, once the ship leaves, you kind of you go back in airplane mode, connect to the ship's Wi-Fi, and then you're not able to do those things. So that's what we all did. But I think that worked fine, because on our itinerary, the only days we didn't have signal were the first day out of Vancouver, because that's an at-sea day. But then
The last 2.
And then the last 2 days. And every other day we were in port, and so we
Yeah.
could connect to 5G.
Yeah.
So we did get the Wi-Fi there those last days.
Those last 2 days.
Those last 2 days, because we wanted updates on our cat. What a ridiculous thing to say.
But again, because he's a kitten and he has been having some health issues, we just wanted those updates. And so we had one day at the beginning of the cruise where we had no updates at all, and we were just like, oh, I don't like
And
it.
I was just like, he's going to burn the house down, and we're not going to know.
I don't
He's
like
going to have a
this.
party.
He's going to have a party, have girls
He's gonna
over.
throw a rager.
Oh,
Yeah, and so it was really just that one day and we were just like, I don't like this. And so the other days in port, we were able to kind of check in, and then the last 2 days, we were like, we got the Wi-Fi package. He got the Wi-Fi package on his phone.
yep, one device.
So that we could get those updates
Yeah.
from our girls who were here with him. So,
Other than that, not having a package, I think was fine. Would you do it again?
with him being older and not needing those daily updates, honestly, I think it would be okay.
I agree totally.
Yeah, I didn't miss having Wi-Fi. It was just needing those updates on him.
I actually kind of liked not having Wi-Fi. We've talked before about, like, I'm always connected to this. And I feel like so much of cruising, we'll talk about this in a minute, so much of cruising has gone, because when we started cruising, this was just a phone. And that's what I loved about cruising.
Right.
But now so much has become driven by this with the app and with all that kind of stuff that now it feels like you're more tied to this, which I don't love.
Yeah.
In fact, Mom, I want to talk about that next, because you are not a tech-savvy kind of person.
Do you know, for those who don't know, this guy has grown up like 2 or 3 steps behind technology. When
Yeah.
DVDs came out, we were getting those VHS plug-in.
Yeah, it's true.
So, no, I haven't kept up with technology. And I was talking to Adam and Sherri about that earlier today, but aren't all elderly people, senior citizens, a bit? And they said, no, you're the only one.
We're not the only one. You're
Not
certainly
the only
in.
one.
Yeah.
Because again, the girl on the ship was like, "I'll see you tomorrow." She's done this before.
She's done it before. I don't know. It's a learning curve that I get it. It's the world I live in now, but quite honestly, it's not the world I live in every day.
No, totally.
And
So was that hard? Because a lot of, it's like on the ship with Princess, I do like it because they give you that printed version of the daily calendar.
The Princess Patter is back.
The Princess Patter is back, where it gives you a printed version.
Yeah.
You get it in your room every night, and we'll talk about the importance of reading things in your room in a minute. But Mom, with so much online, it's like, the check-in happened on the app. Sherri helped you with that.
check-in.
The check-in, remember on the train, we checked you in. Sherri got everything set up on the train ride to Vancouver. She took your phone and got you all checked in.
I remember handing the phone. I don't know what she did with it.
Check you in.
Yeah, there you go. Did you find...
You're going to have to do that on your own.
You're going to have to do that on your own next time.
Mm-hmm.
So did you... Or probably call Sherri and she'll walk you through how to do it. Did you find it frustrating that online... Did it feel like you had to be tied to your phone to do stuff on the ship, or did it not feel that way to you?
No, the only
That's
time
awesome.
The only time I used the phone was to find where you guys were. Was I supposed to look for more?
All of the activities are also on your phone.
Oh, but they were in that.
They were in the printed one. That's true.
Yeah.
So I do think that's a good, that you don't have to be tied to this.
Right.
So that's a good thing. Now, we were joking because, our role, and the reason we went on this cruise, it really wasn't a vacation for Sherri and I. We wanted to be there, first of all, to experience your first cruise with you, and to help navigate your first cruise experience. Because, our hope was that you would like cruising and would want to do more of them.
And I do, and I will.
So, huge success. But I think that it was helpful that we were there to help you navigate that first time.
Absolutely. And again, had I paid attention, I would be more versed on what to do next time. But I don't know that it matters because
You
I'll
have
just
a general
ask.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You will be able to figure out where the buffet is,
Oh, that.
where the soft serve ice cream machine is.
Yeah. Yes.
Really? Do you need to know more?
That's
No.
pretty much it.
And if you're not traveling with me, then why do I need to locate you?
You don't even need to know where we are.
No.
We're just at home. You know that. So a couple other things that Sherri and I didn't do this time, because again, this trip was like tour guides for you and Rita to make sure you guys had the best experience possible.
And we did.
And so success. But a couple of things that Sherri and I didn't do that I think this may be the first cruise ever. I just kind of made notes as we cruised. So we love watching the wake show. So the wake show on Princess, I don't even know that you knew it existed. Exactly. It is a show they record every morning with the cruise director, Allie, where they talk about, here's what's going on the ship today. Normally when we wake up, we'll put the wake show on. It's just kind of this morning cruise routine, and we love doing it. We didn't watch the wake show once.
Not one time.
Not one time this whole cruise.
Did you turn on the, what's it called? The
bridge cam?
Bridge cam.
Bridge cam, yep.
Yeah, that was cool to watch the bridge cam.
Yep.
So that's the only reason we turned the TV on, was to watch the bridge cam. Oh, we watched a movie too, 80
See?
for Brady. So funny.
So there you go. I will say the movies and TV shows on the ship they had a lot of them.
They had a lot of them. They had good ones.
Yeah, they did have some good ones. Other things we didn't do, we never ate at a specialty dining restaurant.
No, we didn't.
Now, I want to talk about food for a second on the cruise. Mom, I want to start with you first, because this was one of the things you were most looking forward
I was
to.
so excited.
Because you've talked about, as you get older, kind of through the cancer battle, like I grew up and you always, like, whether you loved cooking or not, you've always been a good cook. But
You didn't always think so, but thank you. Mm-hmm.
that is true. You tried to hide vegetables in my food. I had reasons to not think so. The food on the ship, was it good?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And you liked, like, even in the buffet, the food was good?
Oh, the buffet was wonderful.
In fact,
The variety. Yes. As much as you want. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
food was wonderful.
For breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so too. We did have a couple meals in kind of the main dining restaurants. Did you like that food as well, or did you prefer the buffet?
The dining room was more of an experience because it was, again, the service in the buffet was top notch.
Yeah.
But it was nice to sit down at a round table with the four of us and have a conversation. But quite frankly, I think I would have preferred the food at the buffet to what... and I assumed that the dining rooms would somehow be better than the buffet, food-wise. Not so much, and I didn't think so much.
You liked the quality in the buffet?
Oh, the quality was fabulous. There was,
I actually thought...
fresh fish, yes.
I thought this was the... I'm trying to think if this is true. It was at least among the best buffet quality we've had. Sherri, what do you think?
I think I'd actually agree with that. I feel like some of the main dining was not as good as previous cruises.
Yeah.
I feel like usually the main dining is a little bit better than the buffet. I don't know that was true on this one.
The thing I liked about main dining was because I think we only had 2 dinners in the main dining restaurant.
Yes,
but both of those dinners were like 2 hours long because of like sitting and talking, and it did feel like those, when I remember this cruise, 20 years from now, it is probably that stuff that I will think back on, was kind of how long we sat at dinner, the conversations, the laughter.
Yeah.
And so I liked that part of the experience, just kind of the sitting together. But I agree, the quality in the buffet, I thought was great.
In the buffet, I could fill my plate up with a small bite of all the things I wanted to try, and then learn what I liked the best, and then go fill my plate up with all the things I liked the best. And I imagine that would be possible in the main dining room, you ordered 2 things of escargot.
That's true.
But
there's one time that he was like, which one do I like? I'm kind of between these 2, and he was like, get this one and I'll bring that one to the table.
Yeah, he goes, I'll bring the fettuccine for the table.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which was awesome. I mean, the dining, I don't want to downplay the dining room experience because it was wonderful. It was an experience. However, as far as the food goes,
the buffet was really good.
The buffet was really good. And I enjoyed every meal I ever had at the buffet.
Yeah.
Even the International Cafe, which is mostly sandwiches and pastries, and they had a really nice rice pudding.
Yep.
It was there all the time. Just ready.
Yeah.
I know. I love the International Cafe.
Me too.
So I will say, as far as food goes, the only issue I had, and this was not the quality of food. So on Princess, you can use the Dine, and it's not Dine Anywhere. I don't remember what it's called. It's where you order food and they bring it to you via the app. We tried to do that and never got it. So the wait time for food, and we heard people on the cruise talking about this, the wait time for food, if you order it through the app, was much different than on past cruises we've experienced.
There were a couple times we just canceled it.
We just canceled the order.
Because it was still processing. Like, I hadn't even started preparing. I was like, I don't know that this is ever going to... It was like grilled cheese. Like, it wasn't anything like...
Yeah.
We didn't order like the New York steak. We just wanted like a grilled cheese, and it was like, all right.
So it could have been a glitch with the app on our cruise, but that was not a great experience. But everything else, food wise, I really did think was wonderful.
I didn't order room service once. That's probably a regret, to stay in bed and
bring it back to you.
Just to bring it to me, you know, to have food prepared and cleaned up after is wonderful, but have them bring it to you as well.
Yeah.
Even better. Well, the nice thing is you have more cruises in the future where you can do room service.
But the thing is, room service, the convenience of that, but it's not the variety of the buffet. I would still get up and go to the buffet.
Yeah.
Maybe start with fruit in the room and then go to the buffet.
Sherri did that one morning. You ordered fruit for breakfast one morning.
Yeah.
There's a couple of other things, Sherri, that we didn't do. We didn't go to any trivia.
Nobody.
We didn't do any of like the arts and crafts kind of things.
No.
The food, the vegetable and fruit carving.
That's true. We did go to the fruit carving. Did go to the vegetable and fruit carving. That was fun.
I did not do that.
That's true. You came there. You went there after it was over.
I went after it was over and I got photos.
We did things like the galley tour. We did the evening shows. So let's talk about entertainment on the ship. Mom, you got to hear just a lot of the musicians kind of around the ship as you went.
Yes.
You went to one of the evening shows.
Yes.
What were your thoughts on the entertainment around the ship?
First class.
It's great, right?
It was really great.
I don't know. That was one of the things when we started cruising, I think that surprised me. Because for whatever reason, I had always heard like cruise ship performer as like a negative thing. You know what I mean? As like, maybe it's like a lower class of entertainer. And then, now granted, we started with Disney, and it's like, wait a second, the entertainment's amazing. But even going to Princess, the bands around the ship, the singers around the ship, the pianists in Crooner's Lounge.
Right.
It's so good.
Right. And I mean, the singers and dancers on the stage are phenomenal. And Rita and I were talking about this. They're singing and dancing, and especially the women in these heels, while the ship is moving.
That's true.
Oh, man.
That's a good point.
In these
That's a good point.
big ball gowns, and they're doing leaps, and I'm just like, you're in heels in these gowns, and you're doing flips, and the ship is rocking. Like it's like it's a whole other level. It's not just a steady stage like in New York or whatever. Like the ship is moving. So I think it's a whole other level of talent.
Entertainment on this cruise compared to past cruises, what'd you think?
I thought it was great.
I did too.
Yeah, I thought they were phenomenal.
I thought the house band, the band that kind of like plays in the piazza, maybe the best house band I've ever heard on a cruise. I listened to them a bunch. I thought that was great. Let's talk service around the ship. I think we all agree with this one.
Top notch.
Not one. We didn't have one bad experience with the crew.
Not a single one.
Not one.
Maybe my favorite cruise director as well.
Yes.
She was great. I know. Allie,
right up there with Natalie.
Yep.
So Natalie was another one on one of our other Princess cruise ships. She was also phenomenal and just everywhere. And I saw Allie everywhere, and she was very funny and very personable and just those are the cruise directors I really like, that are just in everything. Because we've been on cruises too where the cruise directors like show up on stage and they like introduce stuff, and then I never see them again. And it's just like, so yeah, Allie we really liked. And it was her 30th birthday, which was fun.
Yes, that was fun.
on the cruise. So.
But like every other interaction with crew, amazing.
Yeah.
From dining staff, we had to go to guest service a couple times.
Everybody was.
As a matter
great.
of fact, when we were in Juneau, we went to the grocery store.
Oh yeah.
And I don't even remember what the question was. It was a simple, easy question, but the person was not only not helpful or professional, and I wouldn't say downright rude, because she wasn't rude. She was just
Unpleasant.
Unpleasant is a nicer way to say.
Yeah.
So much so, it was such a contrast that we all commented about we couldn't wait to get back on the ship where the people were nice. And Alaskans are typically nice. So it was, I'm sure she was having a bad day or something. But it was such a contrast between what we had just left on the ship. There was no service at the grocery store.
Yes, it's that realization. It's like, oh, we're not on the ship anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it didn't matter, again, what department or what their job was. They were helpful. I had in the buffet a guy who was at one station, and I asked him about something, and he left his station, went all the way to the other side to show me exactly where it was. I think I was looking for the cranberry sauce and stuffing that you were.
Yeah. And it was little things. And this is one thing I won't forget. So there was one night, I think it was in the main dining restaurant, we all went and sat down, and Rena brought in a glass of water. I think that she had from maybe the International Cafe. And in Rena's glass of water, she had a lemon slice. So, you know, at dinner, they bring you water. And so they bring us all water, and one of the waters has a lemon slice in it. And we were confused because Rena didn't ask for that. But the server had noticed that the water she brought in had a lemon slice and was intentional about making sure that the water he brought her had that as well.
Didn't ask. She didn't ask for it. He just noticed it and brought it.
It's little things like that, the details that it's so impressive.
Good job, Princess.
Good job, Princess. Okay, so you and Rena stayed in the same kind of room Sherri and I did, inside stateroom.
Yes.
Now, you might not know this, Mom, but everybody says when you cruise Alaska, you have to get a balcony stateroom.
No, you don't.
I was going to say, what was your experience like? What did you think?
Well, I spent almost 50 years in Alaska, but I never saw that part of Alaska, so I wanted to see that part of Alaska. But it wasn't required. When we were in the room, the dash cam, no, what's it called?
Bridge cam.
Bridge cam.
Yeah.
The bridge cam. We could see outside. But I guess the only issue I had was not knowing what direction would be front and back.
Sure.
But all I had to do was look out a window and see which way the water was headed, you know. And so I'd know. But yeah, it was... And
even on Inside Room, you're only 90 seconds away from outside. You know, it's like leave your room, take an elevator up, go a couple floors down.
And we were close to the elevator, so it was, No, the inside room was comfortable. It was no problems. I would do that again.
Yeah.
You were saying, I think on the first morning, you both kind of woke up and you're like, oh, it's still dark. It must still be nighttime.
I know. We did.
We slept until like 10:30.
You guys slept till like 10:30 that first morning. And actually, Sherri and I laughed at that because you guys know that's why we get the inside stateroom, because you wake up and there's no knowing what time it is.
No,
right.
There was.
But it's still dark.
There's still dark.
I need in order to sleep. And so it's not because like I don't want to wake up with the sun because it doesn't get dark.
Right.
And so I just don't sleep if it's not dark. And so, you guys were just like, oh, must still just be nighttime.
Well, it had to be because it gets light very early in Alaska this time of year. So being that it was still dark.
Back to sleep.
Back to sleep.
Back to sleep you went.
Nope.
Yeah, I enjoyed the inside room. I've never been in a balcony room or... But no problem. I would do it again.
I love that. Yeah, us too, obviously. Mom, Sherri, is there anything I'm missing from the cruise as far as like cover food, cover service, covered staterooms, the ship in general? I just want to say we fell in love with the Caribbean Princess.
I really liked the Skywalker
Lounge on the very back, that top part of the ship.
Yeah, that was a really cool feature that none of the other ships we've been on have had. So that was just really cool. Just kind of this huge, full windows you could see out the back. That was really great.
Yep. Sorry, it stopped. I was about to say, I love a ship with a promenade deck, the deck that goes all the way around, because it's just so easy to step outside. So we were sitting at Crooner's Bar, I think as we left Vancouver, listening to music, and then all of a sudden there's orcas outside. So we just like step out on the promenade deck and get to watch the orcas.
Yeah.
It's right there.
It's right there.
Right
you know, there's chairs all around, so on Glacier Bay Day, to just get to step outside and look at the glaciers.
Yeah.
I love that. So the Caribbean Princess, I would sail on that ship. Without question. It is an older ship, which I kind of loved. It didn't feel outdated.
No.
Nothing felt like it needed repair, I didn't think. It felt great.
It was great.
And beautiful artwork everywhere. In every hallway, just about. Really beautiful artwork.
Yeah. So I think that kind of covers it. Mom, I want to ask you, any tips for people that have cruising for the first time? Maybe they're older, they've always wanted to cruise. What would you say?
Do it.
Yeah, I think so.
One thing that I've heard of is it called sea legs?
Oh yeah.
So I've heard of that before, but it was so odd to be on solid ground, and for the first 2 days afterwards.
Oh yeah.
I could feel the ship moving.
Totally.
I knew
So
it
strange.
wasn't moving.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, Rena and I were visiting a friend here in Anchorage, and at the same time we felt the ship moving. And the friend we were visiting was in a wheelchair, and he said, "Oh, I felt it too." And I was thinking, well, maybe it's an earthquake, but there was a glass of water sitting on the table, and there was no waves in the water, so I knew it wasn't an earthquake.
Not bad.
But yeah,
Sympathy sea legs.
but for those couple of days, a few times, I felt the ship moving, and I knew it wasn't. I knew I was on solid ground, so it was the strangest feeling.
It is odd.
It is odd.
Any seasickness on the ship? Did
None.
the movement of the ship never bothered you? It was never an issue?
Never
Because
an
you could
issue.
feel it moving, but it's not rocking, right? Like you can kind of feel it, but you're not like...
No, not ever. It wasn't.
Yeah, wasn't an issue. I'm so glad.
Yeah, no issues.
So, cruising, something, because we were very honest leading up to this cruise. I was excited for you to go on it, but we didn't know if you were going to like cruising. I mean, you didn't know if you were going to like cruising.
I didn't know, but when we got back to Anchorage, and I had my phone the way it was supposed to be, and Travel Zoo is on my email, and a Travel Zoo, a 16-day Hawaiian cruise came up for like $999, and I said, Adam.
Yeah, hey.
Let's go.
So that's success. I'm just so glad that you had a good time.
I did.
Can I ask a question?
Oh.
Is there anything you didn't like?
Oh, good question.
One lesson I learned is I won't pack as heavily as I did.
Yeah.
I took the very wrong suitcase because it was lighter than my good suitcase, which was a mistake.
But we got you a good one.
As soon as we got back to Anchorage, the kids took me straight to Costco and said,
We're getting you a good suitcase.
With the 360 wheels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I took more clothes than I needed. However, it wasn't just the ship we were going on
That's
and
right.
the cruise. There's a wedding
Yep.
that we went to yesterday.
Yeah.
So it was a wedding, which was a woodsy wedding, but still dressed up. So,
You had different things you were packing for, which you wouldn't
Yeah. It
need
wasn't just a
to
cruise.
Right.
next time.
but next time I won't pack as much because I didn't need as much. And we didn't do a formal night. Which I'm not sure I would even want to do.
I know.
Just for packing purposes.
That's how I
Not
feel.
really necessary, but you saw on the ship, there's some people that go all out, and there's some people that just don't dress up at all. There's kind of a whole in between, so you can kind of...
And I had
choose.
skirts and dresses, which were appropriate for dinner in the restaurant, but I did pack heavier than I should have. But regrets? None. No.
Okay.
I'll try it again and let you know next time if there's something I missed the first time.
So one of the things you were concerned about was, because some of the cruising horror stories are these ships that are so packed with people, it's just a cattle call, you're in line everywhere, you don't have any space to yourself, like everywhere you go on the ship is just jam-packed. And on day one of the cruise, it does feel that way. Because remember, everybody's getting on the ship.
Right,
Like,
yes.
sometimes people aren't in their stateroom yet, so like everybody's in the public areas. So day one, it can feel that way. But the cruise as a whole, did it feel cattle call? Did it feel lines? Did it feel any of that?
No, because once people were on the ship and spread out, they're, like you said, 18 decks, So
Right.
it was, but before we go, I just want to say thank you, Sandy Carter. There was a reversible princess jacket in the cabin when I got there. And thank you, Jessica Violet. So we had the most beautiful, fragrant bouquet of flowers that the whole time. As a matter of fact, walking to our cabin, we get, I don't know, 4 rooms or so away, 4 cabins away. And I knew we were getting close because I could smell the lilies, thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Sandy.
I know.
It was so unexpected.
Yeah, for your very first cruise to get on the cruise and have gifts waiting for you.
I know, from people I don't know.
Yeah.
Actually, Sandy I have met before.
But you've never met Jessica.
But I've never met Jessica. I've watched her videos. As a matter of fact,
But and it was funny, the last day, because the flowers lasted the whole cruise.
The whole cruise, I almost wanted to bring them because they were still fresh and wonderful.
The last day, mom asked, like, so what do I do with the flowers? Do I bring them with us? And all I'm thinking about, because, like, we had all these bags, all these suitcases, and I'm just picturing, like, how am I going to carry a bouquet of flowers? She's like, no, Mom, you can't bring the flowers with you. The flowers have to stay. It really was a great cruise. From the weather, which was amazing the whole time.
Was perfect.
The fact that you got to experience things in ports, you got to meet Spring.
I did, and she's just delightful, and so is her husband.
Yeah.
And they took us to places we wouldn't have seen otherwise.
Yeah.
And Skagway, your friends in Skagway.
Yep, Nicole,
the charcuterie board that we snacked on.
I know.
Was great.
Yeah.
You
got to see the shrine in Juneau.
I know it, and walk the labyrinth. Well, I didn't walk the whole thing, but I did experience it.
Yeah.
And
so I actually think that the cruising experience for a first-time cruiser, I think the ship is fairly easy because of exactly what you said. If you're willing to get on board and like ask questions and like ask for direction,
yes.
I think the onboard experience can be pretty easy.
Yeah.
I think ports can be confusing. And you guys actually, you and Rena talked about this, that, Sherri and I have been to those ports lots of times. We have friends there. And so we know, in Juneau, we rent a car, we go to these places.
We've been to all of those places outside of cruising, so
that's right.
Like, just to see our friends and just to do things in those towns outside of cruising. So,
but a lot of people, when they talk about cruising in Alaska, they talk about how expensive it is, not because of the cruise always, but because of all the excursions you have to do. Now,
you don't have to. No, you don't.
Exactly. You don't have to. And I think that if you're willing to do things a little different, but you guys had talked about how if you hadn't been with us, you might have gotten off the ship in Juneau, but you probably would have walked around the downtown area and kind of seen some of the stuff around there, and then maybe gotten back on the ship.
Yes, and I've been to Juneau. It was probably over 20, 25 years ago. And I know there are a couple of nice restaurants downtown.
Yep.
But then again, I don't know that I would have gone back to the buffet on the ship.
Right. Yeah, and so I think that most people default to the excursions, which in Alaska can be very expensive because it's things like helicopters to the top of glaciers where you can go dog sledding. Now, here's what I want to say. That's awesome. That is an amazing experience you will remember for the rest of your life. But you don't have to do that in order to enjoy Alaska.
Right. No, you don't.
You can, but like for us in Juneau, our car for the day was about $120 for the day. And that car took us to Mendenhall Glacier, took us to the shrine, took us to some pretty darn amazing halibut at the sandbar.
Oh man, it was so good. And we got to see that black bear and her 2 cubs.
Yeah.
And
just
stop there.
right at the side of the road.
As long as we wanted.
Yes.
We got to go see the whale statue. And so like I think that it's one of the things that I think is important to me when people visit Alaska, because I think there's this thing that's like, if you're going to cruise Alaska, you're going to spend thousands on excursions. You certainly can, and I think if that's what you want to do, like 100% do that. You will not be mad that you did, because those are amazing experiences.
Right.
You don't have to. You don't have to.
Yeah. And have an amazing experience without it.
Absolutely.
Yes,
So there you go. I think we've covered it all.
I think so.
And I will fill you in on my next cruise.
We'll let you guys know where Mom's cruising next. I'm sure maybe eventually she'll start having her own viewer cruises. You guys can cruise with my mom. It was really fun though, watching you get to have an experience that like I said earlier, you talked about wanting to go on a cruise my whole life, and it was fun watching you get to actually do it. And I'm so glad you liked it, because I was glad you were getting to do it, but I definitely was like, man, what if Mom hates this? Oh, you didn't.
Well, I wondered too. I wondered, should my first cruise be 7 days? Maybe it should be 3, just to feel it out and know if I'm going to like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what we did, honestly. We did a 3-night for our first cruise, just to see.
But after 7 days, I kind of wished I was on a 16-day Hawaiian cruise next,
Mom's become a professional cruiser, just always living on the cruise ship. So friends, we love you. There you go. Here's what I want to know. In the comments below, do you have any questions for Sherri and I, or for Mom? Because you guys, she watches every video on this channel, and she also reads all of your comments.
And I've watched this cruise videos, but I've not yet commented on any of them. But I intend to. I intend to go back. It's just been we've been so busy since we've been back. Friends and family and weddings and all of that.
Yeah.
But I have watched all of them, and I will go back and comment, and I try to like your comments.
You do.
Too,
I know. It's so funny, because I'll go through our video and be like, who's already liked all these comments? And I'm like, oh, it's my mom. No, it's my mom. But let us know if you have any questions, either for us or for her first time cruising, in the comments below. Friends, we love you. Thanks for all of you who have already watched and commented on this cruise series. It was a really good one. Yeah. And I think all of us are ready to book our next cruise.
I am.
Which is a sign of a good cruise.
Yes.
All right. Bye, friends. We love you. We'll see you on the next LeggLife video.